Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. This week, short spell of mining hope dashed, consolidation is needed to save jobs, and South African mining must negotiate the many turning points and deciding moments confronting it. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer unpacks the headlines this week. Welcome, Martin.
Hi, Sashni.
Now, we heard this week from James Lorimer that hopes for South Africa's mining industry were dashed. Why does he believe this?
Now, James Lorimer is the shadow minister of mineral resources. I can remember his father, Rupert Lorimer, in Parliament, also for then the Progressive Party. Apparently his sister is also in politics, so this is an incredible continuation of the name Lorimer in politics. But I think that the speech he delivered there was quite meaningful, because one of the most important points he made is that if you're going to carry on with having to empower all the time, you know, this puts such a strain on the company unless once they've given out their 26%, they've been empowered, they're saying, can we be empowered? But there's still this issue of, no, you've got to go and get re-empowered. So you've got to give away another 26%. How are you going to make that up all the time? And he's saying, what are you doing? You're actually saying, we want to give a slice of this company to a few people, a handful of people, probably very wealthy people. You want to give a handful, but you're jeopardizing the jobs of tens of thousands of people. Can anyone answer me? He said to Parliament, please, someone answer me. Give me the logic in this, where you're actually giving to a few, but you're jeopardizing a lot. And you're also hurting the families down the line. So where is... he pleaded, someone, please, in the House here, give me an explanation why you're doing that. All of a sudden, you know, two statements were made that indicate that they're not going to change, because the impression you get from the statement around the errant mining Charter 3 is that this is still going to form the basis of the next one, which is coming up in June. You know, if that is the case, we haven't moved forward. Well, we'll have to wait and see. But the indications at the moment are not that there's going to be great movement from what was an absolute disaster. And then, you know, the second thing is around this court judgment. The courts say, go with once empowered, always empowered. This is quite logical. It can, you know, get a lot of momentum for the companies, create certainty once and for all. You don't have to look for new partners all the time. You know, looking for partners is a very difficult thing. You know, partnerships in companies are very difficult. I've seen many partnerships in my time become hostile because it's hard for people to just come with different ideas and come together. So they're saying, you know, once empowered, always empowered. Now the court has ruled on this, but, you know, the latest is that the Department of Mineral Resources will appeal against this. So you had this spell of optimism, but it's gone.
Now, Lonmin's CEO has pleaded with authorities to approve the company's consolidation plans with Sibanye-Stillwater urgently. Just talk to us a bit about this.
You know, I can see the urgency. I mean, when you looked at the platinum price today, down at $888 an ounce, I mean, that is totally unsustainable. These platinum companies, from what I can see, are going to have to use every bit of cash they've got. They're going to bleed their cash, because I can't see them being sustainable at this sort of level, as well as the rand, which has popped up and become a bit stronger. The deep level mines, they are seriously on the way to a huge problem. Now, with Lonmin, you have that situation where they are skating on thin ice. You know, they're doing very well. They're surprising on the upside. They're keeping that cash balance, and they're not going back to their shareholders whom they've already, you know, drained for more cash. And they've got that date where they're hoping that this merger will come together with Sibanye-Stillwater. But what they're saying is, competition authorities, please speed this up. I know we've got a date till the end of February, but the faster you do this, the better. Because look at the situation. We've got our operations. We've got two operations here abutting. They meet each other underground, but there's a huge wall there. If you allow us to come together, we have the potential, with also using our unutilized downstream capacity, to have a immediate unlocking of a synergy worth $1.5 billion rand a year. Now, they've got to get every bit of rand they can because they need R1 billion a month just to keep going. Now, this is a big operation. And one of the things about this is it's not as deep as some of the others. So that's a big advantage. So you'd think that the competition authorities would show some urgency. I mean, really. Can they not see how many jobs are at stake here? And then if you multiply, well, firstly they're saying 12,600 jobs. Phew, they've got to get rid of those people. So in other words, their 32,000 number is going to go down to like 20,000. But then they're saying if you want to keep those 20,000, you better get moving, because we can't go on like this. We've got covenants. Our lenders are stretching everything and giving us a runway to do things. But why must the authorities, the competition authorities and other authorities hold this up? Surely, if there's an accident on the freeway, people run out and do an emergency. Are the competition authorities free of this? No, they sit back. No emergency for them. We'll just slot this in to a normal thing, irrespective of how many kids are going to suffer down the line. No, I think it's really the plea to them, get going. Let this deal come through, because at least this gives us some cash, to carry on. But no urgency being shown at the top level of government, which is ridiculous.
And lastly, what are some of the turning points and deciding moments that the mining industry has to negotiate? Yeah,
now when you're seeing seismic activity kill people, you start thinking, well, these people are going to work and they're risking their lives. For what? Okay, they need jobs. That's very important. But you can see workers resisting, going into high risk at the moment. People are saying, okay, if the risk is too high, you don't need to do it. That's the law. But the problem is sometimes the risk can only be assessed at the last minute, particularly with the seismicity. The monitors, people tell me, you cannot guarantee that the roof won't fall in, because we can't do that. We haven't got the ability to guarantee that yet. So I think they're going to have to look at certain situations, look at their risk, and then look at themselves in the mirror and say, wow, we know we can't actually eliminate this risk. Therefore, we must take a decision that we can't mine there. And I think those hard and strong decisions they're going to have to face, because you can see a point being reached where the unions are no longer prepared to tolerate the high risk, particularly in deep level mines. And they are even some of them saying, it's a human right that we don't get killed at work. So against that background, you can see one mine has already been harvested, because it's had a 19-year life and, 25-year life, and they cut it down to, I think, 5 years now, because they just feel that the cost is too great to make sure that the risk is gone. And there are other situations where the mines are viable, but unless they can get some solution for the seismicity, or otherwise spend more money to support everything, which may be possible with a lot of the mines, because some of them are high grade, but with the low grade mines, I think they're going to have to say enough is enough. Unless this price really rockets, we're going to have to close now, because you can see all the high grading going on, which is short term. And I think we need to take some hard decisions, because if it's a gold mine, surely the world can get gold somewhere else. I mean, they don't have to get it from us. We've already come down so low that it might be time to take some strong decisions.
Thanks for speaking with us, Martin.
It's a great pleasure, Sashni.
That's it for today. Join us again next week for more news analysis on South Africa's mining industry.